So those of you that have been watching for a bit, you've seen me go ape shit about music being added to videos, and now all of a sudden I've started adding music to videos. So it gets a little stale without the music. I'll admit, 700 videos, maybe a little bit of music now and then. I don't know if I can use these videos, I just do them anyway. But I don't know, this song, it sucks in headphones because you can hear all the mistakes they make, but you know, just playing it and talking over it, it sounds pretty alright. Turn it down to a elevator tone. Now, a lot of people don't like me, and there are people that I don't like. But when there are people that I don't like and they still have the truth, I still fucking tell you. You've heard me talk about Horace Butler for a few years, and each time I talk about Horace Butler, I tell you I don't like him, but I still tell you about him. See, I don't play these games like, don't bring his name up, don't bring up what he's talking about, and I don't tell you things like, I don't want anybody to read that name out of the Bible. You know, that's actually the way we're supposed to be about wicked names, but you know, those of you that know what I mean by that, those of you that have seen that motherfucker come back on air and say, if you want to be part of this camp, I don't want to hear you say the name Emmanuel. He literally told people, I don't want you to read. I'm talking about Ricard. He literally told people that day, he don't want nobody reading out the book of Isaiah chapter 7. So, there's a book that's thousands of years old, and this man said, I don't want you reading out of the holy part. So, you know, that's life. Somebody's gonna listen to that as an order, then yeah, he's your fucking master. I'll read the prophecy all day long about Emmanuel, and I'll tell you what it truly means, and I'll show you the real living human who's the bat signal. Now I'm gonna show you something that's been online. I'm gonna show you the date this was uploaded, and I'm gonna laugh in your fucking face. January 2012. That's so fucking close to the birth date of Emmanuel. That's the funny thing. That's so close to his birthday that don't nobody care. 4 years this information been up telling you this shit, and you didn't care. I told you about Horace Butler 2 years ago. Now you didn't give a fuck. Now, too much time has passed, and as usual, nigga, you is the last person to know. Now, even when you find out today, just like when you found out the information yesterday, I'm the one that shared it with you. Everything that you know that's true right now, I shared it with you. Now, are you gonna deny sharing my information with others? I literally don't like Horace Butler. I've communicated with him. There's a distaste. We give each other a distaste. But we got the same information. Now, let's hear his, since it's been up for years and nobody gives a fuck.
Greetings, beloved family, and thank you all once again for joining us here this evening on Occult Science Radio. I am Curtis Davis, aka the Illuminated One, and tonight we have with us a powerhouse, okay, who I've been chasing for a very long time, Brother Horace Butler, who wrote a very groundbreaking book, When Rocks Cry Out. And for those of you who have not had the privilege of reading that book, I suggest you get it ASAP. Believe me, you're going to come across some information in that book that they did not teach you in grade school, and they didn't teach you in college. Okay, so that's why times we have to thank the universe for, I call brothers like this, for prophets. Brother Horace, are you there?
Curtis, I am here.
Welcome home. Make yourself at home. You are officially a family member. And we have so much to cover. But, brother, being that this is your first time with us, before we get into the real good stuff, just give us a brief background on yourself and what led you to where you are now, and what led you also to write such a great book.
Well, let's start with the writings. I think that's what the audience would be most interested in. I'm pretty much a common man myself. I can't say that I went looking for this. In fact, it was almost as though the writings were manifesting, and I happened to be at a place that saw some of the things coming to the surface. Channel 13 in this area, PBS, had run a documentary called The West. And it was a documentary talking about the western part of North America. And I saw that, and I sat straight up on the bed when I heard them mention blacks that were in the West. And they were calling the blacks the Kali. And I'm imagining Kali or Cali. And that got my attention, and I went looking for this nation of blacks that were in the Americas in the 1500s. They were talking about the conquistadors as being the ones who had seen this nation of blacks. So I went looking and found books and writings and illustrations and maps that had nothing to do with the Kali, but had everything to do with what blacks had been doing in the Americas. Some eventually, what I found, going on more than 22,000 years from the time of the foundation of Egypt. That surprised me to see writings that were showing Africans coming across the seas into the Americas and forming Egypt, what became known as Egypt. They did not call themselves Egypt, in the Americas. And when I say Americas, mostly I'm talking about Central America and South America, though there were cities and communities in North America as well. I found the records in Egypt and in other places, ancient records, that were talking about what had happened in the Americas, a full history of what these blacks had been doing in the Americas. I saw them building Memphis in what we now call Mexico. I saw these being built in South America. And eventually I saw the place that preceded both of those capitals. Egypt, some people might know who delved very deeply into the history of those Africans. At first, started in another place that some records call Dis, T-H-I-S, Dis. And it was said that many went from Dis and went to Memphis and built Memphis. But long before that, because we've got many at about 4,000 to 5,000 BC, but the records were showing Amen and Horus and Isis and Osiris and the other names that those are known by in the records, living, it said, about 22,000 years before Alexander the Great. So that's a long way from Amen to Menes. But most records try to pick up the history of Egypt at Menes. They try to start somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 BC. Well, that leaves a lot of that black history unknown, or at least undated. So I saw those things, and from there, I saw the other histories unfold. Once you know that the Old Testament coming out of Egypt and then taking Egypt's cities, those Africans that we call Hebrews. Well, once you have...
I'm going to stop right there. You hear that? Those Africans that we call Hebrews. Let me explain something very clearly. My problem with Horace Butler is that he calls Hebrews Africans. Just because you're born on African soil, that does not make you an African. You have people over here that claim to be European, even though they're not European. Now they're born on American soil. Now they call them motherfucking selves American. Now who is the real American? The Aboriginal or the fucking invader? That's my point. Africans looked at us as if we were invaders. Now we carry the title of African today? That kind of bothers me. Now listen again.
Most records try to pick up the history of Egypt at Menings. They try to start somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 BC. Well, that leaves a lot of that black history unknown, or at least undated. So I saw those things, and from there, I saw the other histories unfold. Once you know that the Old Testament is coming out of Egypt and then taking Egypt's cities, those Africans that we call Hebrews. Well, once you have Egypt in the Americas, and you have Hebrews taking the previous African cities that were called Egypt, then that means we have the Hebrews in the Americas as well.
So you have the ancient Hebrews taking the Egyptian city. Now, if the Egyptian city is run by Canaanites, and the Hebrews take the Egyptian city from the Canaanites, and then that matches the Bible. Right here in the Americas. What I've been saying for months. Well, actually years, but evidence for months. Stronger evidence for months.
From there, I saw the other histories unfold. Once you know that the Old Testament is coming out of Egypt and then taking Egypt's cities, those Africans that we call Hebrews. Well, once you have Egypt in the Americas and you have Hebrews taking the previous African cities that were called Egypt, then that means we have the Hebrews in the Americas as well. And that's what...
Boom. We got Hebrews in the Americas. And this is why the Smithsonian won't release that information, because everybody walks around with a Bible saying, Lord thy God of Israel, give this land to you, Moses, and to the children of Israel as a possession. These people know what's going on. You can't colonize a people. You cannot come and land on the people, push religion, and then hand them a religious book that says this land belongs to them. That's really what we're dealing with. And like he said, once you understand the starting point and that they're here already, his information is still valuable. But look how much evidence I was able to show you. Your families were already here. Look how many times, in how many different ways I was able to show you without using Horace Butler's work yet. You have to think about that. 700 videos, and Horace Butler's only actually used 2 times, 3 times. And truthfully, he has the most powerful information. He had the manuscripts. He used the manuscripts to write his book.
Well, once you have Egypt in the Americas and you have Hebrews taking the previous African cities that were called Egypt, then that means we have the Hebrews in the Americas as well. And that's what I found. I found those images all over the world. I found the cities that they built. They had already been found, many of them. They didn't have their African names on them. Some of them were already being restored by archaeologists, and they were just not telling you that these were the cities that were in the Old Testament and in the Egyptian records. I think secretly many of them knew this, so that would fit into the name of your program, the occult science. If it's hidden science, if it's hidden knowledge, that's definitely going to fit, because they knew that these cities were those ancient, classical, and even prehistoric, they call them cities.
So he understands from his own research, they've been turning over biblical cities left and right here in the Americas. All those places that they say are on the other side of the world are fucking grand scale lies. These Masonic archaeologists go dig your fucking ancestors up, and then they come back and tell you they're fucking Mexicans. That's literally what's going on.
They had already been found, many of them. They didn't have their African names on them. Some of them were already being restored.
That means the places already had their African names. As he's saying, they already have their African biblical names. See, what he's about to tell you is the flood is because of the African ruling system to wash all that shit away. That's what he's about to tell you. And these people hid it. These people hid it because of you. They want to keep you in a jar.
Egypt. Then that means we have the Hebrews in the Americas as well. And that's what I found. I found those images all over the Americas. I found the cities that they built. They had already been found, many of them. They didn't have their African names on them. Some of them were already being restored by archaeologists, and they were just not telling you that these were the cities that were in the Old Testament and in the Egyptian records. I think secretly many of them knew this, so that would fit into the name of your program, the occult science. If it's hidden science, if it's hidden knowledge, that's definitely going to fit, because they knew that these cities were those ancient, classical, and even prehistoric, they call them cities. So that's where it came from. I saw the records. It's been about 12 years since I found those first cities and the records, and have been working pretty hard from then to now to try to spread the knowledge. This is not the kind of knowledge that you're find coming out in USA Today or Newsweek or Time or even National Geographic. I've addressed this with them, and it's just not a subject that they really want to address. I thought it was a racial thing at first.
It is a racial thing. I've called the Nation of Islam about Moses' body in the desert. I've called black Christian organizations about Moses' body being in the desert. I'm talking to black people on the phone when I'm trying to tell them about Moses' body in the desert. They don't want to hear it. I said, listen, woman, I hear Farrakhan every week bring up Moses. I can show you where his body is. Well, you need to write down the information and you need to send it to us. I just write your address down. I don't send it attention to someone. Address it to the ministers. Well, don't they have an extension? Don't they have a phone number? Sir, I have to go. There are other people calling. This is what I hear constantly. Trying to share this information. What you think they're going to do if I write it down? They're just going to act like they ain't received my letter. Woman, I'm trying to help black people. Look in the mirror. I'm trying to help you. There are other callers coming in. Ain't nobody gonna help us but us. The older people ain't gonna help us. The younger people are gonna be too busy fighting.
First cities and the records, and have been working pretty hard from then to now to try to spread the knowledge. This is not the kind of knowledge that you're going to find coming out in USA Today or Newsweek or Time or even National Geographic. I've addressed this with them, and it's just not a subject that they really want to address. I thought it was a racial thing at first, but I came to Facebook several months ago to see. I wanted to test to see what's really going on, where the intellect was, where the resistance was. And I found we have as much resistance in the black side of humanity as we do the other side of humanity.
Now listen, it is a racial thing that they're not going to broadcast to the whole fucking world. All these temples that we keep finding are nigger palaces. They're palaces of black Africans, and they're palaces of Negroes. It is a racial thing. But I want you to understand, he's saying when he goes to black people, they're so fucking ignorant with their African belief system. Africa came to America. Nigga, please, get out of my face before I fuck you up. And that's the attitude, right?
To see, I wanted to test to see what's really going on, where the intellect was, where the resistance was. And I found we have as much resistance in the black side of humanity as we do the other side of humanity to these histories. Blacks are not ready for their own history. Especially when we start saying Egypt and the biblical histories are occurring or were occurring in the Americas. They're not ready for that. So that brings us to today. That's where we are. We still battle that battle, and for those who are seeking knowledge and trying to see what happened, we have that, and we're giving that. For those who just can't get it, then, that's another day for them. They'll eventually get it or not. And I don't bother myself too much with that battle.
I see. Excellent. And, that's why, I totally agree, Brother Horace, because many times, I just turned 48 years old, and I've been studying black history and many things for many years. And, when we talk about, when the brothers and sisters here in the United States, when we talk about our history, two things that we always attach to ourselves, ancient Kemet and slavery. And you're absolutely right. I find that, many people, they, to this very day, still believe that black people didn't touch Western civilization shores until we were dragged over here in slave ships. For some reason or another, many of them cannot grasp the fact that we were already here. And we were all over the place. And yes, to this day, you're absolutely right. That knowledge is still being resisted. People hold in their heads that, we didn't see this part of the globe until we arrived on slave ships.
Nah, there's a perfect little dead moment there at 10 minutes flat. Now, I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to type in dumb diversus 1452. Alright, so when he says we were all over the place, you know, that's not a joke, okay? And you have to understand the importance of this. Because of us being everywhere, we had kingdoms. Alright, we didn't just have tents here and there. We had kingdoms. Alright, now I'm going to prove it to you in just a couple of words from the fucking Pope. Alright? Ready? Subjugate. We are subjugated. We live under what is called cultural hegemony. They control even our history. We are subjugated. We work for money, and they send a large percentage back to their king and queen. Their Pope King and their fucking English queen. They called us Saracens. Moors. They didn't call us Moors because we were Amorite. They called us Moors like a typical name, like the term Negro or black. The Saracens are just blacks and browns. These pagans called us pagans. These king fucking heathen and queen heathen sent out these fucking heathens on these orders. We grant you, kings of Spain and Portugal, the Edomites that came by the sword, by these present documents. We want you to take these papers over to the Americas and hand these papers over to people that can't read our fucking language. With our apostolic authority. Full and free permission to invade. That's war. To search out. Well, I'll be damned. That's hunting. We're talking about people now. We're not talking about animal hunting. To invade, to search out. It's on ships. You were told they came to Africa and searched you out. You were told they came to Africa, invaded Africa, searched you out. You were told they captured you and brought you to America. But Horace Butler's over here telling you these archaeologists are purposely not telling you the truth. They're not even telling you the nationality or the type of people that are being found in the ground. Isn't that funny? The Negroes' old title used to be Mexican, so these archaeologists say, well, Mexicans were found in the ground. So they feel like they're not lying. I bet if I put a noose around their goddamn neck, they'll talk like hummingbirds. With our apostolic authority, we give you free and full permission to invade, to search out, to capture, to subjugate the Saracens and pagans and any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ. Enemies of Christ. Well, Christ is supposed to be the Son of God, right? And the Muslims have Muhammad, and he's still preaching for God. And it seems that all these pagan religions wouldn't be bothered by the Catholic Church at all. But they sent armies out. They sent thousands of boats. Wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms. Take down those niggers' kingdoms. Their duchies, dukes and duchies. Their counties. You live in, what, a county? I live in Summit County. City of Akron and part of other surrounding parts are a part of Summit County. Their principalities. Take down their principalities. How many people think that's talking about a human prince? A duke and a fucking duchy are the princes. Principalities. Ephesians 6 and 12. Though we wrestle not with flesh. Come on, this is what this is talking about. Every time you see the word principalities, Somebody done read Ephesians, and they talking to you about Ephesians. And other property. Principalities aren't property. They're entities. Seize their entities. Seize their trinkets to call upon the entities. That's what they wanted. Stop them from calling on their gods. Didn't matter who the fuck you worshipped. Their goal was to stop you from being able to call on anything. If you believed in Ra, they prevented your connection with Ra. If you believed in Horus, they prevented your connection with that fucking bird. They knew what they were doing when they came. Just like right now, they can secretly say, hey, we found this place. The Indians down in this place or that place told us about another pyramid. We're going to go investigate it. And when they go investigate it, they come back and say whatever the fuck they want publicly. It's just a couple of bricks, but we think it's millions of years old. Don't worry about it. And that's what they say each time. And what was the main goal of everything? Well, it was to reduce their persons to perpetual servitude. If you got brown skin right now and you're watching this document enslaved you. If you're watching right now and you're telling yourself no document enslaved you, you're a fucking idiot. If you're watching right now and you don't understand, now after I done told you for fucking months how you went into slavery through Christianity, the whole rest of the world calls it Christian slavery. Ask anybody. Call your fucking friend in Bermuda. Call your fucking friend in Japan. Call your motherfucking friend in Australia. It's called American Christian slavery. Inquisition. Accept my God or die. All angels, good or bad, are sons of God. And these devils, sulfur in their fucking skin, these devils stole your fucking history. I told myself I was going to play 10 minutes of this. Told myself we would play 10 minutes of that. Find me something. Find me something on this guy. On this dead man. Everybody makes mistakes. Somewhere he wrote whom he's doing this to. This is who controlled the Smithsonian.